to break, and we start by giving awareness as to everything sustainable. I'm just going to support you also on when you said sustainable.
Thank you. Yeah.
You know, I'm quite passionate about women, and the only way this can be sustainable is that continuous creation of awareness. Continuous creation of awareness. We have to continuously find ways. We have to involve with technology, for instance. That's one way. We have to involve. Okay, there's a program like today. We're talking about this. Even I myself didn't do it. I should have invited more people. You know, I should create more awareness, maybe share it on my social media pages, tell more people about it, get them interested, you know. Anyways, that's it.
Thank you. May I please add a comment on gender equality before we move on to the next Sustainable Development Goal? Because I think we can be agreed that if we see gender as binary, you know, they're either men or women, then men have the power and the privilege, and women have a catching up to do, and we have to enable that. But there is the grey area in the middle, and let's not forget that in you know, biologically, it's a continuum. It's not a binary. So there are transgender people right in the middle who are far more disadvantaged than anybody else. And let's just keep an open mind to that as well. And like you say, you know, we just need to keep an open mind and just act when we see something as unfair or an equality issue. So
thank you. That was a really wonderful point. Thank you. It's a very impactful point you made there. Thank you so much. And so there are a few enablers. I think the enablers, like main three enablers, what we could possibly promote is one, enhancing digital transformation, you know, so that lots of women get that opportunity. Also innovation. So new innovations would give an idea. I'm sure most of you must have heard about Chandrayaan, the satellite which went onto moon, you know, and that was from India. And yes, and that team was mostly led by the ladies. So that's proof that what ladies of this generation could do. You know, so if you could promote and enhance and, you know, boost that, I think that would be really great. And of course, as you mentioned, what we could do is financing, you know, provide funding towards the Sustainable Development Goals. I think that is what would be great idea to achieve that in coming time.
Well, I don't know, but I would like to, or I can say, I'm trying to disagree or trying to convince myself and assess what you have just said. You know, working with a fellow colleague where they earn more than you do. I don't know. Are you working on the same level or working at a different level? And what will be the reason for such, you know, pay disparity?
Stereotypes and habitual behavior.
Thank you. Stereotype, mentality, bias. I was also going to add to the inclusion, you know, of transgender. You see, imagine if women, that the natural other form of the man, are facing that kind of stereotypical discrimination. Now imagine what people that are transgender will be facing in a workplace. Just think about it for a moment. If you, woman, who was the one that birthed a man, is going through that, no respect for you, no acknowledgement for your pedigree. Now think for a moment how culture, religion, people's upbringing, mentality has affected their biasness towards that category of people, transgender, when she mentioned it. And I'm sure she mentioned it because she didn't talk about inclusion, you know, but just think about it. Then go further and think about how they would see a disabled person that is even a man. A disabled woman, you see, it's getting worse. A disabled transgender. You know, people need to be a bit more open-minded. You know, and it starts by creating awareness, continuous creation of awareness. And yes, because, you know, you can't force open-mindedness on people, unfortunately. A lot of things affect our mentality, our upbringing. A lot of people are embedded in their culture, in their traditions, in their in their way of life. You can't just take that. It's not just a habit, it's a lifestyle. You can't change. It might not change in 70 years. But you see, creating awareness can start to shift thinkings. What it's in the doing, we have to continuously do it.
I mean, I totally agree, but I would implore us not to take the foot off the gas on the campaign for women's equality. Because if women win equality and change the system and get rid of those biases, those minoritised people, the non-binary people, the trans people will benefit too. But by focusing on those, we are taking our attention from the fact that we're all, as a larger group, women are half the population, we're actually over half the population.
We give back to the population.
And we give back so much more, yes. But we deserve equity. It's not equality, it's equity. Yeah. Yes.
Right. Many people will say equity. Because equity is not equality. And what cannot be 2 years can be changed in 720.
Like getting your photos. Yeah, of course, at some point. Just for like when I'm saying that I'm doing my bit, I'm not only doing it my bit professional, but when I'm like socially involved with ITMK, we have this year taken quite a lot of lanes on ITMK. Even under government scope, I've got 2 ladies and 2 gents. So that's what I'm doing my bit. Are you? That's what I would like to ask. Thank you.
Question. Naomi, you mentioned a couple times already about women birthing men. Women play such an important role in the world today, right? Studies show that this generation's women or girls are more likely to not want children. I don't know if anybody wants to object to that, but studies showing that women are wanting children. Do you think that equality is perhaps having some roundabout adverse impact on women wanting to have children and raise families?
Like every message can be misinterpreted. So we're saying equality. Now it still boils down to the person interpreting it. So whilst we preach equality, some people misunderstand what we mean by that equality and abuse the opportunity of equality. So, and again, it boils down to people's individual preferences. If you're a woman and you don't want to give birth, you don't want to give birth. If you don't want to marry, you don't want to marry. Again, why should societal mentality be forced down on us? Oh, you're a woman, you have to marry, you have to give birth. No, it doesn't have to be. So if there are categories of people that decide that they don't want to have kids, it's their choice. They have the freedom to do that. And that doesn't necessarily mean they've misinterpreted equality. It's just a preference. The fact that somebody is thinking that because equality is being discussed, some other people are thinking they could use it as a tool is even wrong in itself if you think about it, because those other people should have their preference. Don't you think so? They should have the will and the freedom to express themselves in any way they choose.
My question is for Artemis on inclusive education, that is United Nations SDG 4. What do you have to say for the disabled? Is SDG 4 inclusive equality in education? Is it sustainable?
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to speak here today, and thank you for a great question and for giving me an opportunity to say what I've come here to say. We do shift the gear now. We do want to look at SDG 4, Sustainable Development Goal 4, which is about equality, equitable and inclusive education. What I'd like to say is define what inclusive education is, and then say why it's important and what we can all do. I mean, it really follows on from what we've been saying.